friends. All right. How are you all today? All right. It says we're live. Hello, friends. Welcome to 3 on Thursday. This is a free class that I do every week on Thursday, hence the name. My name is Michelle. I am the person of Crafters Northwest, and I love to show you guys how to make cards. So let me show you the cards that we did last week. Just as a real quick, I was doing this for a while and I stopped doing this because I cleared it off my desk and moved it into a spot that wasn't easy to grab. And this time they were still on my desk. So we made these super cute panda cards. Say happy birthday inside. And sorry, had to move stuff so I could see. And then we did this super fun fold card. So it opens like this, but then also opens here. So you can write your message inside and still have it be hidden, but still have that fun fold card. Oops. And then we did a 5x7 card, and we stretched our thin cuts so that we could have a larger card. So those were our cards last week, and I love them all. I don't think I could choose a favorite. This week we have some bonus cards. All of the cards are super quick, I think, I'd like to say. And so they should go together really well and really quickly. And yeah, let's get started. I feel like you might be slightly crooked. Let me check really quick. Maybe a smidge. Let's see. Good enough. Okay. All right. Let's start with this one. So we are going to make this card. Here's our beautiful envelope. And our inside, I normally do this in the bottom corner, and I decided to go with the top corner this time, just to change things up a little bit. So everything except the white is new. No, not true. Some of the inks are not new. But this features our new color of the year, Journey. And this is that color. So we are also using Capri and Periwinkle on this card. And let's see. We are using the Waterfall Thin Cuts, still available for this little guy here for the front. I've already pre-cut that. We will be using some Journey dots. And let's look at our stamp sets. We have Hey Friend, which has all of these fun sentiments on it. And then floral notes for our flowers. And so those are the stamp sets we're using. Let's get started. So I do have 2 different sizes cut, and I'm going to show you. So we might make 2 of this card with different sizes. So I have 3 pieces that are the same size, that are 1 5/8 by 4. But then I also have 3 pieces that are 1 3/4 by 4, because initially I didn't want that gap to be quite that large in the middle, and so that's why I made the slightly larger size. All right, and then we have, of course, our card base and envelope, and our white daisy that is 4 by 5 1/4. So we have our stamps already blocked up to make things nice and easy, and foam tape, thin foam tape, and regular foam tape. Now this is, we're going to use the insides of the Slimline Shaker foam. If you've seen any videos, you've seen me use these types of bits in the past many times. So let's grab our stuff and get stamping. So I'm going to grab the inside of my Misty to have a place to stamp on, and some scratch paper. So let's go ahead and just stamp both of them, because it really won't take much time extra, really at all. So we are going to we're going to move things a little bit, just so that I have the right working space. I don't know about you, but I tend to all the time work myself into a space that is super, super tiny. Please excuse the cat sneezes in the background. All right, so we used the largest stamp for our journey color. And we're just going to stamp this off to one side. Now you can do left side, right side. It really doesn't matter all that much. Of course, the birds are going to show up right now. I don't know if you can actually hear them on the video. All right, let's try that one again. I can't stamp with my glasses on, and I can't see the screen with my glasses off, of course. So all right, so there's one. There's the other. Let's do our envelope. Because we're going to use this stamp and this color. I'm just kind of centering it. It may not be perfect, but oh no. All right, let's see if we can get this lined up. we're gonna have to cover that up. I'll show you how to fix that. And I don't know why all of a sudden that's doing that. It clearly did not happen on the sample. Alright, done with that one. While we have the ink open, let's do our sentiment. That is just, hey friend. Next up is Capri. And that is the smallest stamp on here. Now mind you, it's not necessarily a small stamp, it's just the smallest. We're going to have more bonus cards than even I planned for. Okay. And then our inside piece is also, so let's do that before we put that away. Just up in the corner. Okay. And then periwinkle for our last one. And we're going to stamp this one on the opposite side of our paper. Now these flowers, there's not really an up or a down. So you could stamp all three panels on the same spot and flip one over. That would be super easy and not a problem at all. Okay. Alright, I had extras just in case I needed them. Turns out I did not. Set this off to the side. Now this hardest part of this whole thing is putting the foam tape on. Well, apparently it was the stamping of the envelope was the hardest part. Who knew? I always say this in my videos, the amount of foam tape that you do is up to you and what you feel comfortable with. I know I tend to overdo it a little bit according to other videos that I have seen. I've never actually had anybody tell me that, but just going off of videos. Okay, so give all of them a good press. Bring in my handy dandy garbage catch-all and my card base. Right, so before I take any backings off, I want to lay these out so I know how well they're fitting. See, the 1 3/4 fits a little bit less than how I wanted it to. What if let's do that. Alright, bring back in our foam. So all I did was I swapped out this middle panel for one of the panels that is 1 5/8. Because I think it fits a little bit better. It's a little bit less crowded that way. All right. See, and I'm glad I stamped all of them. Oh, that's by far better. All right, so let's take off these backings. I do so love it when the backings come off so easily. It doesn't happen nearly often enough, but it does happen occasionally. Alright, so I'm going to do everything I can to make sure this is straight. And when I'm doing things like this where I have a space between everything and I can't use my cheater trick of using washi to tape it all together, I will do the 2 outside pieces, in this case the top and the bottom, and line those up. And then I can center the centerpiece between those so the gaps in the middle are even, or as even as possible. I'm not a robot after all. Okay. Fabulous. All right, so some thin foam tape, because I want to pop up our sentiment. Just a smidge. And since we already have that layer, I'm just going to pop it up just a tiny bit. Okay. Almost done. I have found that if you bend the backing on this, it works a little bit easier to get these up because these are super thin at the edges. All right, so know we need to put the inside in here still. But if we line these up, these should fit pretty decently on here as well. Slightly larger gap. But you can have essentially 2 cards in one if you did it that way. So I will save that to put together another time. But we need to fix this. And we need to attach this. Let's attach this first. All right, card's done. So the easiest thing to do would be to grab a piece of white daisy. You can't see through that. You know what? Let's do this. We'll use this paper. Here, let's cut it first. Two inches. Alright. Let's see if we could stamp better. Second time around. Third time around. However many this is. I'm adding more pressure than I need to because I'm worried. Why is this doing this? Alright, let's wash it off. Take it off of the block. So my guess is that there is an air bubble in there. And I didn't look before I pulled it off. But if you tilt your block, you can see when there's an air bubble in there. So for example, there is an air bubble right here. Let's see. You can kind of see it there at the edge of the light there, where it looks slightly white. Okay. Maybe this is the third time, right? Restamping doesn't count on the same one. Right. show you that even people who are willing to make videos, I'm not going to call myself a professional, because that would be silly. That just seems like it would be asking for problems. But even those who make videos can make mistakes. Alright. How's your fingers? What in the world? I don't understand, guys. I don't think I got this signed up. Not too bad, but alright. We're gonna skip it. So, I will stamp it off camera, and then what I will do, we'll pretend that this is the right one. Okay? Because I am going to glue it onto here, and then trim off the pieces that overhang. Because this is not good. And this is not good. I don't know what the deal is. So, anyway. Card 1. We'll ignore that part. Card 1. Ta-da! Alright. Move these off. Now onto card number 2. Okay. This is our card number 2. We have more journey. And we have some tone-on-tone stamping. Now, if you wanted to change this up and make this pop, you could do your butterfly in a different color. You can stamp it on a different color. I have some pumpkin, but so this is a new color as well. So this is pumpkin, and we are going to use the new Operation Smile stamp set for this. Your Smile, and I did some stamp surgery on this because I needed something that would fit here on the lip. So I did some masking and some stamp surgery. So brightens my world. So I masked the S, and I love your, and I did stamp surgery and masking for you brighten my world. Okay. And then of course our little corner stamp here. And we have some Journey Shimmer Trim and glitter gems. We're doing all the Journey stuff today. Alright, so we have, oh, and here is the inside. So, of course, our card base and envelope. And we have 2 pieces of White Daisy that are 4 by 5 1/4. We have Journey that is 3 3/4 by 5. We have just a scrap of Journey, just something large enough for the butterfly, and then 1 3/4 by 4 for our white daisy. You are going to need a pencil or something else. It doesn't have to be a pencil. It can be literally any marking utensil. Okay. So let's get some stamping done. So again, using only the Journey ink pad. And let's stamp our butterfly first. Oh, also, the stamp of the month, which we're using for the next card as well. So Thoughtful Tokens. So this is the September stamp of the month, and it is a very mixed media type look. So we are going to use this guy and this guy as well. We will bring in our Misty itself. Let's flip this over. Alright, so we're going to stamp off the edge. I'm going to show you on our card. We're going to stamp off the edge. So we couldn't very well put in our piece here because then we couldn't stamp off the edge over here. So we're going to rotate it. I'm going to leave it upside down here for you. So if anybody comes in right now, they're going to be confused. Right? So then we also need to put our stamp upside down. So we're going to do essentially this. So you can make sure by putting your white daisy piece here, so you have it kind of lined up where you want it to be lined up, and then pick that up. Alright, so let me kind of move these pieces out of the way so that we can do all of the things. So I am going to ink this up. And I'm going to make sure everything is in the corner. I'm going to stamp. I'm going to go ahead and take this piece out, and I stamp, because we're going to need that reference here in just a minute. So I do want this a little bit darker, so we are going to stamp again. Make sure everything's in the corner. Grab my Misty sock. And then we have a nice dark stamped image. Okay. So we do want to stamp our butterfly. I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit of adhesive on the back. so that we can do that easy. And we want to make sure that the whole butterfly is inked up. And that should be good, but if you wanted to make sure, we can ink it up again. Okay, so we have, ooh, almost too short. A nice butterfly there. And just in case you wanted to see that in pumpkin as well, I think maybe the lighter side. Definitely one more time. All right, so we will let those dry and we will finish our stamping and move on. Okay, so for this, we are going to use our kind of postage meter stamp, and we're not going to include this piece, but I'm not going to mask it off because we don't really need to. We should be able to ink this up without going all the way there. So I'm going to stamp off once, and stamp, and it's very, very, very light. So we're going to ink up again. And this time we're going to just barely touch the paper. And so most of the ink is going to stay on our stamp. And so you can see that's a little bit darker. So if you don't think the first one was quite dark enough, we'll go through and do it again. And let's just light. And I'm going to actually do it a little bit lower. So this is what we have now. Okay. Now we need our envelope and our inside and our front. Alright, so let's stick with the same stamp. We're going to do the same concept again. We're going to ink it up. We're going to tap it down lightly. We're going to do one at the top. And one at the bottom. Okay. Done with that stamp. We'll do our little corner pieces. Not sure what to call this little guy, but he's very ornate looking. And the detail on this stamp is just amazing. Like, look at this. Just fabulous. Alright, so I'm going to move this and bring in some washi. And we're going to start with Brightens My World. So like I said earlier, we need to mask off that S. Making sure it's only the S, not the D and not the N. So I will just use my fingernail and just tuck that there between the letters. So I did leave a long tail because it makes it a little bit easier to take off, which is a very important part of the whole process. Is taking it off and doing so quickly. All right. Apparently my stamp is too clean. So wash this off. Dry this off. Dirty it up. And try it with another piece of tape. Because we do not want to reuse that piece, because then we'll get even more inky than we already are. All right, let's try this again. So I redid it because my ink was pulling up on the stamp faster than I could stamp it. And so it was not going to stamp very well. And that just would not work well at all. Alright, then we're going to do the same thing with the R in your. Let's, since the other one was doing this, positive this one is as well. And the bonus is doing that will make it easier for you to see what you need to mask off. You brighten my world. And that is all the stamping. Let me move these out of the way. Move this out of the way. Okay, now for some of the semantics for putting things together. Is the inside. This is the inside. Okay. So here, we're going to glue on our white piece first. I know this is not normally the order in which we would do things. However, today we do need to. So we're just setting our journey piece on top and we're lining it up so it's centered all around. We're going to grab our white piece, our white daisy front piece, and we're going to line this up along the bottom so it matches up with our white daisy piece that we glued down. This is where your marking is going to come into play. Right, one mark either side on our journey piece. Okay, and then we're going to bring in our journey trim, shimmer trim. And we're going to kind of line up halfway because we do want this tucked under. Pop hair everywhere. All right, and then just trim that off. Alright, and then everything is ready to attach together. So centering. So you could technically use a smaller piece of journey if you wanted to. And then I'm actually just going to put tape, adhesive or glue or however you want to phrase it, just on the journey piece. I'm not even going to try and put it on the shimmer trim because if you don't have to fight things, don't. Right? It will make your life happier in the end. All right. Now, if you are watching along and you want to chat with me while the video is playing, you do need to sign into your YouTube account, which is Gmail, or Google rather. Kind of one and the same. And then you can chat. And that's a YouTube thing, that's not a me thing. You know what? Let's just cut out our pumpkin one and give a little bit of variety so that you can see kind of what it is that we're looking at. Now, because of the style of this stamp set, you don't have to be particularly accurate because it is kind of a messy style of stamp set. The hardest part is when you get down here to the head of the butterfly. There isn't really a head of the butterfly. Or if there is, I haven't seen it yet. goes fairly quickly. Now I just popped it up on some foam tape, but what you could do is you could glue the center, kind of like we have already. And just pop up the far corners of the wings. So let's do that. I'm going to show you some variety. It might as well be some variety, right? So, and then alright, so that's that one. Sorry, I couldn't see anymore. I don't know what happened to it. Oh, gotta add some bling. Alright, I gotta close this door. Alright. Not sure. I do think I like the Journey on Journey better than the pumpkin. They are complementary colors, right? It's not that they don't go well together. I think it's just personal preference, right? So you guys have to let me know. Do you like the Journey butterfly or the pumpkin butterfly? All right. Now, for this last card, I thought I would do something a little bit different. Gotta move some things out of the way though. Okay, so we're going to do good, better, best for the same card. Because it's super fun and it's super easy to do. So this is a good challenge for you to do. All right. So we are starting with this card and envelope. Simple, beautiful, easy note card. Now if you wanted to stay with the super simple, easy note card, I would do this stamping on the card base itself, but I got carried away and I did a layer because I always do layers on the inside of my cards. So if you wanted to go a super simple, clean, easy, clean and simple card, then the inside you would stamp on the card and you would not have a layer. So it would be just the card base and envelope, right? And you can do this in any color combination. So I have Flamingo, Mulberry, Wisteria, and Seabrook. I just thought they were super pretty together. All right, so we have step one, right? And then we're going to up at a step, and the envelopes are all the same. So just so you know. So step two, same design, the exact same design, except we are adding a layer. And I guess if you wanted to bump it up even more, you could pop up that layer. And we have some sparkles. Right, inside is the same, envelope is the same, it's just one extra layer. Technically two, if you go with the clean and simple route of this, of no extra layers inside. Okay? And then level 3, right? So if we have good, better, and best, this is level 3. So again, essentially it's the same card design, but we have popped up a couple of layers, we've added some more stamping, and we brought in some black and white dots to help the black pop a little bit more. So we're going to do all 3 cards, and it's super easy. So let's get started. So we're going to stick with the single layer card. So we're not going to do an inside layer on this card. So card number 1, we have our ink colors, like I said, Seabrook, Wisteria, Flamingo, Mulberry, and Archival Black. Black and white dots, some sparkles, and some bitty sparkles. Our main stamp is from a new stamp set, Design Elements. And I thought about using this wood flooring, but it took up too much of the card. I think it would look good, but I think it would be too much for this specific design. So there's going to be some fun stuff with these. And then we are using Hello. I believe that the stamp is still going to be available. It currently is not, but I bet money that this will be available in just a couple days. So this will be available next week. I'm almost certain. Okay. So to make sure that our hello is essentially in the same spot on all of the cards, I do have it in the Misty, the mini Misty. And yeah, so let's get started stamping. I've worked myself out of space again. Goodness. Alright, card front. Card front. And I start with Mulberry so that I kind of have an idea of what the spacing needs to be and how much it needs to overlap. Right, let's make sure our card is the right way. Okay. And actually, let's just move on. Alright, then we'll do Flamingo. I do twist, twist, tap, tap, tap. Right? And I am going to overlap these, what, a 1/4 of an inch-ish. Alright, and Wisteria. And the amount that you overlap can vary from card to card, and will, because you're freehand stamping this, right? All right, let's do the inside. So let's grab a Post-it. I do have a fan on right here next to me because it's a bit warm in my house. And this one's actually quieter than my computer, so well, I know you guys can see it. I don't know that you can actually hear this fan. I'm going to go ahead and cover it up. Alright. So we're going to go back through just like we did earlier. I don't need to ink up the whole stamp, so I don't know why I did. And we're just going to stamp some of it down here. I'm not stamping the whole thing. And let's go ahead and do an envelope. I've pre-done 2 of the envelopes just to save a little bit of time. Okay. And we want to make sure the inks dry a little bit before we add our black so that it does not feather out into the rest of our stamping. You can see I'm in the habit of doing the full stamp, not just part of it. Which, totally fine. Okay. Inside is done. Front is done. Envelope is done. Well, front is almost done. Alright, so let's add. I guess we do need this piece. Let's add our hello. We don't need this piece. Now I do have just a piece of acetate, and I've made one for each of my Misties, and I just have a washi so that I can set this here so that I can close this and not worry about getting ink on my mat, but also so that I can put my stuff in here. I can make sure that it's where I kind of want it to be so I don't mess up anything that I've already done. While pretty decent, I do want a second go. Okay. Card 1 is done. I'm ready to send. Right? Voila. Beautiful. Okay, card number 2. We need our card base, our card front, and our card inside. So the front and inside are 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. And this one I think we're going to pop up instead of just gluing down, just to give it a little bit more definition. And the other thing that you could do if you wanted to, but you would kind of need to line it up a little bit, I think, is you could stamp these edge colors on the card base itself. We're not going to do that, but that is an option. All right, so we'll go ahead and do the front and the inside at the same time this time. And it's best to make sure that your stamp is going in the same direction, just to give the card a little bit more of the same all the way across. And like I said, I already did the envelope. Otherwise, you could do the envelope at the same time. These cards go together so quickly. Even doing the different levels, it's really kind of cool. So you could do this with any really any stamp, but it works best with any like paint swooshes. Is that the right word? Is that the word I'm looking for? Well, I'm glad I made sure to clean that one. So, and just to show you that, yes, they look kind of a bit splotchy right here, right now. They even out when they dry. Okay? So, just be aware. Glue this piece inside because the inside is done. So the only downside is we want this to dry a little bit more before we stamp it. So let's set this aside and move on to card number 3. And here is the envelope for that guy. So, card number 3, again, envelope. So, we are going to use this film strip from the Stamp of the Month. And I just have some scrap pieces. How big they are doesn't really matter, as long as they're, long enough to go across the card and at least big enough for half of this stamp. And then I also have this piece, which is 2 by 4 inches, 4 1/4 inches, 2 by 4 1/4 inches. Okay, so let's do some stamping. Okay. Wait, before we do that stamping, let's do this stamping so this can dry while we do the rest of it. Then we can stamp the hellos at the same time. Oh, let's see, an inside piece as well. And I think we'll just do all of the front so it can start drying, and then we'll come back for the inside. A little bit more dry time that way. Okay, so that is done. We'll let that dry. Inside. Like I said, they really do come together very quickly. And if you wanted to do a whole set of the Good, Better, Best, not that the end one is the best one, but you know what hopefully I am getting my point across. But if you wanted to do a whole set of them, you could do all of the fronts, let them dry, do the insides, do the envelopes, and then go back and do the hello or whatever sentiment for the fronts. All right. So that is drying. We are done with this stamp itself. Move this out of the way. All right, we'll bring these in. We are done with these. I believe anyway. I'll move them out of the way and I'll be wrong. All right, so I found that with this one, it's actually easier to put the ink on the stamp as opposed to the stamp onto the ink. So I do apologize for my head being in the way occasionally. All right, so these do not have to be straight. Keep that in mind. And this particular set is meant to be grungy. So if you can make it straight on one edge, great. If not, that's okay too. We can work around that. All right. Clean off my fingers, see if I can avoid any mistakes here. And we're gonna bump up this last card even more, and it'll be super easy. All right, so let's go ahead and do some final stamping. So let's bring back our black ink and this guy here. Okay. So this piece will come in handy here on the next piece. So let's go with the easier piece first. Alright, so double stamp this greeting. Beautiful. Alright, so we know this is approximately here, but let's bring in our safety guide. It's actually pretty decent, so we can do one of two things. We can pay attention to where this is lined up at, because I don't know about you, but my magnet doesn't always hold it. We can add some tape to the back side of it, or we can just trust. So, put my magnet in a spot that it should hold it down. Good news is I can leave it like this, or I can stamp it again, because that actually is a really good inking up of that sentiment. And I find the more you use the stamp, the better it will stamp each time, generally speaking. There, of course, are contradictions to that rule. There always are. Okay, so let's go backwards here just a little bit and finish off card number 2 while some of our black ink is drying. And we are going to pop this up. And because this ink is probably still wet a little bit, I'm going to put it down on top of my foam so I can turn my foam mat instead of my cardstock on my desktop so it doesn't smudge. Alright. I'm going to do a little bit of cheating and use these bars. I know I'm still going to use up a bunch. I finished off that one. Okay. Bring in our little garbage can again, our garbage drawer. always funny to me how different these can peel off from one sheet to the next. Okay. Make sure our card is right side up. And then some sparkles and bitty sparkles. Let's see, how did we lay these out before? So, yes, it's more than 3. This is 5, so it's still an odd number. So it still does create triangles in your brain. So your brain is happy. Okay. So, card 2. And now let's come back to card 3. Let's go ahead and add our inside. And we're almost done, and this makes 5.5 cards that we did today. All right, we are going to add this layer on here, and it's just another 4 by 5 1/4. And I know it doesn't make any sense. Why are we adding this? Because it will just make it pop even more. All right, so we are going to add some tape to the back side of our sentiment piece. Okay. We actually want tape all the way to the edges, if you can. All right, and then just decide which pieces of what you like best. And I did about half, but you could do even less, and you could just do just a tiny bit. Okay. You just want to try to make sure to do the same inside distance, top and bottom. So on this one, you can see the bars a little bit more. And on this one, you almost don't see them, right? So, first things first, we trim off the ends. Step 1. Step 2, depending on how well you trimmed or how well you stamped. So on my bottom, you know, it actually kind of ends up equaling out. So this end is shorter than this end, but this end is shorter than this end. So it's almost worked out to be straight. So if it was less so, for example, let's see how well this is going to stamp right now. Not at all. Alright, just do. Okay, so if I stamped it, so it's obviously crooked right on my piece, I would want to trim that down. But if I stamp it so that it's pretty close to even all the way across, I could leave it. In this case, I am leaving it. But on my first card, I did actually trim it. So that is up to you. All right, now we need some foam. So, you guys probably know. Like, I should buy stock. Ooh, I almost just cut my finger. Should buy stock and a foam table. That's what I should do. Okay. This is the last piece of the last card, guys. So thank you so much for joining me for the video. I really appreciate it. I would, if you enjoyed it, I would love a thumbs up. And if you think your friends would love it, I would love a share. And of course, I can't wait to see what you guys create with this whole idea for any of the cards, not just this one. Alright. And yes, I used lots on this one too. I don't usually use this much bling on cards. I just thought it was well worth it. That and the first card, both my sample and in the class, didn't have any bling, so you know, gotta compensate a little bit. Alright, so make sure these are all insight here for you guys. So we have card 3, 2, and 1 for our good, better, best. And then, of course, our Journey Butterfly. And let's do this. And our Hey Friend. So, thank you so much for joining in today. I hope you love the cards. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them for you. And yeah, likes and shares are greatly appreciated. And show me what you guys do with these card ideas. I can't wait to see. Thanks so much, guys. See you later. Bye.